Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 2022 Catalyst Content Festival preview. My name is Philip Gilpin Jr. I'm the CEO here at the Catalyst Story Institute, and thanks so much for joining us wherever you are around the world today. Before we get started, just a little bit of housekeeping. If you're joining us on Facebook or YouTube and you have any questions throughout the hour, just go ahead and throw them in the comments there, and I'll try to get to as many of them as I can in a bit. But what I'm going to do first is just get started, give a brief overview of what's going to be happening here in Duluth next week, and then I'll get to your questions a little bit later on. So first things first, I'm going to head over to the website here, and I want to show you the most important page, which is the stories and shows page. This is where you're going to find the list and previews of all the content that is being shown at this year's festival. We accept content in many different types. We have pitches, scripts, actual produced video, podcasts, and then new this year, we have a literary competition. The point of including literary is that a lot of television is based in novels and IP and short stories and things like that. So we wanted to try to incorporate as many of those writers as we can into our indie TV universe. But if you're coming to the festival and you want to get a sense of what to watch and what kind of content is being displayed, head over to the stories and shows page. Some of these shows have trailers. Actually, this is an interesting one. 532 is actually a television series from Kazakhstan. I think it's the first time we've ever had a series in competition with Kazakhstan. It's excellent. Excited to showcase it to you all when you're here. If you scroll down the page, you'll notice there's about 53 video pilots and series that are in competition this year. Some of them include social media and influencer series. So we're starting to integrate some of the online content and short form content into our programming here. For the script competition, we do live table reads here at the festival. So our partners over at SAG-AFTRA will be hosting live table reads of most of the scripts that you see here. I think almost all of them are attending in person. So you can read through the descriptions of the scripts, see if there's any that you are interested in, and come and actually see about 10 or 15 minutes of them performed live by actors, a lot of Minnesota actors, a lot of actors that are visiting from out of state. And then the pitches. So New This World, we've expanded Pitch World, and I'll get into that a bit more when we take a look at the schedule. But Pitch World has 3 rounds this year. The first round on Wednesday is what we're calling an all skate, where people have signed up to just come in and pitch. The audience, general audience is welcome to be there and share in that. I think that's going to be really fun. I get to hear lots of different ideas. There will be a couple of those all skate pitches that are moved into the second round, which is the official selection round. So what you're seeing on our website here are the people who had pitches that were officially selected to start in that second round. And there's quite a wide range of really cool stories and ideas. So come and check those out. And then after that second round, there'll be the finals, which will be on Saturday. And that's when it's going to get pared down to about 6 or 8 of the final pitches. And our partners over at Moranti and Carlo Moss, who's been doing our online pitch courses and series for the last few months. If you're a member of the Institute, you've had access to that whole program about how to design and make your pitch. Will be giving out a prize where he does a free consultation and a free pitch deck with the winner of the Best Pitch Award. Podcasts, there's some great podcasts to listen to this year. There aren't any podcast presentations necessarily, but some of the podcast creators will be present for you to meet. And then the literary titles, some of them will actually be pitching their titles and their stories in the Pitch World rounds. So you'll get to see and meet some of them. But the big thing that I really want to talk about today is the schedule, because there have been some changes to it. Let me pull that up here. So just in the last week or so, we had confirmations from both Tina Fey and David Letterman that they're going to be doing virtual Q&As at the festival. So we had to readjust the overall schedule a little bit to accommodate that, which is super exciting. But just to go over the first day on Wednesday. So Wednesday is Pitch World. It starts at 11. Goes all the way till 6 o'clock. There'll be breaks in the middle. When you arrive at the box office to pick up your badges, you'll receive a daily insert schedule that will tell you exactly what the time breaks are in Pitch World and how many pitches are in each block and things like that. Simultaneously, Chris Lefko is going to be hosting a very interesting lab called Works in Progress. Works in Progress is a lab where she's going to select a couple of pre-registered shows to work with and to discuss their creative challenges with in a very open format. Imagine like 20 people sitting around and engaging in a discussion, but the discussion is based on a couple of the specific projects that are there. So everybody's welcome to attend. We encourage you to go and listen, because what we find oftentimes is a lot of creators tend to have similar problems or similar challenges in their journey to get their shows made. So Chris is going to be doing a very in-depth breakdown of how to overcome some of those challenges. She's great. She's worked on shows like Superstore for NBC, and she's got a great TV resume. So we're looking forward to that. Walter Lehman from Minneapolis will be joining everybody on Wednesday for legal office hours. This is just first come, first serve. You show up, you can roam in and out, you can spend as much time there as you want, and just asking general legal questions. To be very clear about this, you are not being given legal advice. Walter is not your attorney. You haven't hired him as your attorney. This is just for general overview questions. If you are kind of just curious or totally lost in the forest about how does legal work for entertainment, at what point should you be bringing on an attorney? How do you approach an attorney? How far along does your project have to be? Things of that nature. So later that afternoon, we're going to be having our first fireside chat. So there's a couple of different things this year from previous years at Catalyst. So we don't just have panels anymore where it's just people sitting up on stage. We still have lots of great panels, but in addition to that, we've set up a second room for smaller, more intimate fireside chats where people can be more conversational, and the topics are a bit more focused, whereas the panel topics are very general. We're going to be opening up our firesides with a conversation about neurodiversity in television and how does that impact a creative career. First panel of the festival is going to be process versus result. This is with Jason Kyle and Lee Aronson. Lee Aronson is one of the co-creators of 2.5 Men. He has written for shows like Murphy Brown, Who's the Boss, and a whole list of others. Him and Jason will be talking about the whole process of creating a TV series and what the results are, kind of what are the goals of it when you start off on the path of making your TV series. Both Jason and Lee will be in person, so we encourage you to attend that and get to meet them. Right after that, we're going to have our opening workshop, which is the networking event, being led by Mary Conroy and the team from the Upper Midwest Film Office. So that's going to be the first real chance for everybody to kind of just take a breath, grab a drink, hang out, and get to know each other. And then after that, on Wednesday night, I will be closing off the night with my regular seminar, which is The Secrets of How TV Really Works. I'm going to be going through the process of some of the behind the scenes things that go into the decision making about how do TV shows get made and selected? How do networks and studios decide which ones to option, which ones to finance? What's that process like? How much of it is really dependent on the content creator and the quality of their show and their pitch, and how much of it is totally out of the content creator's hand and is just something that is a larger system at work that the content creator has to fit into. We'll talk about things like the mandates and the list of producers and overall deals and first look deals. I really enjoy giving that seminar because it kind of helps everybody get the bigger picture of what the TV process really is, and more importantly, why it's so different from making a film. If many of you are coming into the Catalyst universe from being a filmmaker and going to film festivals and going to film school, you're going to find that the episodic and TV world that Catalyst works in is very different. And we're going to talk about why that is, and why is the financing different? Why is distribution different? Can it seem so much harder to get your TV show off the ground than it is perhaps an indie film? So that'll be fun. And then after that, we're all just going to hang out in Fickers for the night. There's a number of bars and restaurants in there, and we'll close the night down at Fickers. Thursday morning, we start early. We start at 10 a.m. sharp with table reads. You're going to have kids, animation, and dramedy in the morning. And then there is a writer's workshop happening with Jacob Kruger from the Jacob Kruger Studio in New York. He's going to be going in depth on how you create your marketing materials and your pitch decks and your Bibles for your TV series, and really looking at it from an artistic, creative perspective of what is your story engine? What is it that you're proposing the person invest in, or the network invest in, that's a real story engine that could last years and years. There will be a SAG After Lounge this year in Fickers. It's going to be held in the boardroom at Fickers. It will be open throughout the day, but on each day, they're going to be having a couple of specific fireside chats that you can join in. The first one is about the relationship between directors and actors. So that'll happen on Thursday morning. Canon, the camera company, is going to be there live in person to do a camera workshop. So those of you that are really into behind the lens, you'll want to join that. And then we really start cranking as we get into Thursday afternoon. You've got a number of panels happening throughout the day in Fickers: budgeting, anatomy of a pitch, unscripted space for realities and docs, troubleshooting your career, and a special panel on Black-owned comedy and Black-owned comedy clubs. One of our special guests there is going to be Michael Williams, who is known as the godfather of Black comedy, who started the first Black comedy club in Los Angeles decades ago. He's going to be joining a panel of folks who started the first Black comedy club here in Minnesota. So that we're really looking forward to that. You'll notice we tried to lay out the schedule this year so that the same types of things are happening in the same venues. So all of our panels are in the Spirit of the North Theater at Fickers. All of our table reads are in the August Ficker Room. There are a couple exceptions here and there. Some of the fireside chats and labs bounce around. But for the most part, those are in the Barrow Room, and Pitch World is in Teatro. This special for David Letterman, really excited about. He's going to be joining us virtually. And the reason that we blocked out the other theaters is that way we can accommodate as many people as possible. The Spirit of the North Theater only holds about 150 people. Right now we have hundreds more than that confirmed to attend the festival. So we want to give everybody the chance to be involved in that. If there aren't any seats left when you get to the Spirit of the North Theater a little bit before 2 o'clock on Thursday, don't worry. We're going to be simulcasting it into the August Ficker Room, which is literally on the other side of the adjacent wall of the theater. That holds another 100 or so people. So there'll be plenty of space between both of those rooms. Our team will be moderating. They'll be collecting questions from the audience at the start, and they will be chatting with Dave, which will be exciting. On Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock, our screenings will begin in Zeitgeist 1 and 2. All of our video screenings happen in Zeitgeist Cinema 1 and Zeitgeist Cinema 2. They're two theaters. They're across the hall from each other. They're just downstairs from the Teatro. So all the venues are very close. In fact, Zeitgeist has 3 of our venues. Fickers has 3 of our venues, and Zeitgeist and Fickers are only a couple blocks apart. So it's really easy to get around the festival and enjoy everything as much as you can. Later on Thursday afternoon, we're going to be doing a showcase with the UMD students, University of Minnesota Duluth. They have been creating their own TV pilot. They launched their own TV studio this year, and they're going to be talking about the challenges that they had and show you some of the clips from the series that they have started producing, which is really exciting. And then we're going to finish off the showcases on Thursday with a special comedy showcase from the Gold Comedy Group out in Boston. On Thursday night, the final fireside chat is going to be about the Emmy process. JJ Murray from the Upper Midwest Film Office is going to be talking about what's the difference between national Emmys and regional Emmys. Did you even know that there are multiple Emmy academies? Did you know that you're eligible for Emmys in both academies depending on certain regulations? A lot of people who write scripted content, comedy, drama, things that they think want to end up on network, tend to only look at the primetime Emmys that happen on the West Coast. Well, in the last couple of years, the two Emmy Academies, the West Coast Academy and the East Coast Academy, have started working together, and they've started reorganizing the way that people can apply for both regional and national Emmys. And there is a pathway for scripted content to apply and to win regional Emmy Awards. That's a really important process to know about. So maybe it's if you decide it's the best path for your show, that's going to be a process that you want to learn more about. As we head into Friday, it's more of the same. We've got table reads starting in the morning, all kinds of showcases and screenings happening throughout the day at Zeitgeist. There's going to be a showcase Friday morning of Minnesota voices and content. I'm really excited about that, followed by the Minnesota Women in Film and TV showcase. Minnesota just has a ton of creative talent, which is one of the reasons that Catalyst chose to make Minnesota its home base. Our partners at Second City are going to be doing a special showcase later on. And Joel McKinnon, who is Scully from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, actually is a Duluth, Minnesota resident. He was born and raised in Minnesota, just moved back to Duluth. He's going to be here to do a special showcase, and along with Gold Comedy. Tina Fey's special is going to be happening in the Teatro. Again, we'll be simulcasting that into other theaters. So if you show up a bit early for the Second City Tina Fey special and you can't find a seat at Teatro, don't worry. You can head into one of the other theaters, and there'll be plenty of seating there. Just to take a look through some of the panels that'll happen throughout the day. How PBS works is a very interesting one. If you're in the documentary or even in the scripted space, PBS is different. It's a network of independent stations all around the country, and they can operate in different ways. So our partners and our main sponsors, our media sponsors at WDSE here in Duluth, are going to be hosting a panel about how PBS works and how do they actually fund content? How do they choose what to distribute? Let's Make a Show, filming in Minnesota. This is a track of programming that we put back to back to back on purpose so that you can see what's happening on the ground here in Minnesota when it comes to production and why you would want to consider shooting your future shows here. Let's Make a Show is going to be all about one of the pilots that won last year called Canusa Street. They're going to be talking about the way that they just produced their pilot here, taking advantage of the incentives and the rebates and the local cast and crew. Filming in Minnesota is going to be hosted by our partners over at the Upper Midwest Film Office, and they're going to walk through all the things that Minnesota has to offer, and it's a lot. There are some regions of Minnesota, like here in Duluth, where it is theoretically possible for you to get up to 75% back in rebates and tax credits on your production if it meets certain criteria. There have been a number of productions that have shot here over the last year that have taken advantage of a lot of these incentive programs and gotten a lot of money back for their productions. So that money is real. There's more money left to be spent, and they want to help you figure out if your project should be shot here, and if so, how can you best go about getting your hands on some of that money. That's why we have this fireside chat here after the Filming in Minnesota panel. We'll just move right downstairs, and if those of you who are really interested in digging into the details about how to go through the paperwork, Sherry Marshick and the executive director of the Upper Midwest Film Office and Ricky McManus, who's the chief production officer, are going to sit down with you and go through the entire production incentive application. So if you've ever thought about applying for incentives here or anywhere else, but you looked at the application and you were like, whoa, this is really frustrating and confusing, I don't know if I want to do this, they're going to walk through it with you so that you leave feeling good to go. The development panel is going to be all about the mystery of the TV development process. And the Hollywood structure is really going to talk more about how do studios and networks operate. There's some great folks joining on that panel. Later on in the evening, SAG-AFTRA is going to be hosting a special panel and working with the Minnesota Film Alliance to talk about all the things that are happening with SAG-AFTRA in Minnesota and how actors should be working in the industry. And then at night, we're going to close it out with a showcase with Crash Punks, which is a new Web 3.0 show from Entertainmint. Entertainmint is our title sponsor this year, and I'm going to talk a lot more about them as we go on. But Genevieve Thiers is going to be here. She is the CEO and founder of Entertainmint. Her and her husband actually have been successful VCs before, and they created a website that maybe you've used previously in your life called sittercity.com. If any of you have ever looked for a babysitter and you went to sittercity.com, Genevieve is actually the person who created that website years ago. And that has led her to have the resources to be able to launch this new program called Entertainmint, which is all about how does blockchain help finance productions, and what's the deal with all these NFT conversations and the future of metaverse and character development, and how do you sell off characters to your audiences, and how do you crowdsource in a new Web 3.0 kind of way. So she's going to start talking more about that on Friday night and showcasing some of the shows that have taken advantage of that. We have some firesides for cinematographers, for podcasts, for post-production, more firesides for actors. And then on Friday night, Rizzle is going to be talking all about vertical content. Rizzle Studios is a company that focuses on high quality vertical content, and they'll be out here to share their goals and details with us. On the Saturday schedule, we have more screenings throughout the day, the Pitch World Finals, a number of panels, and then our keynote later in the afternoon. And then Saturday night is our red carpet gala for those who are still in attendance and you want to just come hang out and see the awards. All right, so that is an overview of the schedule. Let me start taking a look here on the questions. What do we got? Lori Krigo asks, can we get an attendee list? Yeah, hold on one second. Let me show you where to find the attendee lists on our website. So the list of industry attendees is on our panelists and speakers page underneath the festival heading. And it has pictures and bios of everybody there. So you can start doing some research now and figure out who are some folks that you might be interested in connecting with. Just happened to scroll down here to Jade. Jade is the Vice President of Drama Development at 20th Century. So he's going to be here. There's Jacob Kruger I mentioned earlier. Janice Park works for a company called Onyx. Onyx you may not have heard of yet, but they are aggressively looking for new voices and new content. So Janice is somebody that you may want to connect with. Jeff Griggs from Second City, and on and on and on. You can go through the list here. Carl is actually a Minnesota local. He was the showrunner on the first season of Stranger Things for Netflix. Him and some partners have now opened up a production studio here in the Duluth area and are looking for new productions to work with all the time. Kelly Edwards is a TV writer and executive, former talent executive at HBO and TV writer for decades. She's wonderful. She loves talking with new content creators. So please, seek her out and have a conversation with her. So you can go through the page here and get a sense of the folks who are attending. If your question was more about, is there a list of the other content creators who are attending? The answer is no. For privacy and security reasons, we can't just send out a list of everybody who's attending the festival. There would be a number of hurdles for us to go through. It's a bit of a logistical nightmare. So no, we're not going to just send the names, emails, and contact info of everybody else who is attending the festival. Where is Duluth? Right behind me. This is Duluth. Actually, this is Lake Superior here. This is downtown Duluth. This is where most of the festival is. Duluth is about 2.5 hour drive north of Minneapolis, right on the shore of Lake Superior. So it's pretty easy to get to. Frank has a question about the table reads. He says, I have a new draft from the one that was accepted. Is it okay to give the actors pages from the new draft, or need to stick to the original? Great question. For those who are doing the script and pitch competition, yeah, you can make edits to what you submitted. Don't have them be major edits. If it's a couple lines of dialogue here or there, no big deal. If it's a major thematical structural change, like you submitted a comedy that was about two cats and a dog that live together in an apartment, and now you're doing a sci-fi that's set on Mars, no, don't do that. But if you're just, changing around a couple of characters or freshening up your script, that's totally fine. Let me see. What else do we have here? Oh, David was answering the question about, yeah. All right, I'll get to some more questions in a bit. Let me just get back to sharing a couple of other key things here about the festival. I just want to go over real quick the way that the tickets and the badges work. This is different this year. We took into account a lot of the questions that people asked us and preferences that people had about tickets and badges from previous years, and started implementing them in this year's festival. There are two types of ways to attend Catalyst. You either have a ticket or you have a badge. Tickets are individual tickets. They're like the little tickets that you rip off the bottom. When you go to the box office, you will be handed a number of tickets equal to the amount that you purchased. You don't have to purchase tickets online in advance. You can just show up to the box office and buy them there on site. You can buy them in bundles of 1 each, 5, 10. You can buy as many tickets as you want. You can give them to anybody you want. They are good for content screenings, pitches, script table reads, panels, fireside chats, workshops. You don't need to only use them all on one day. You can spread them out across multiple days. But this way, it gives you access to a certain number of events. Let's say you only want to go to 2 specific things on Thursday and 3 specific things on Saturday. Well, it doesn't make sense to buy a day badge to both Thursday and Saturday if you're only going to be doing a couple of things each day. So you'll want to just get tickets, keep them with you, and use those to get in. It's kind of like a carnival. Once you run out of tickets, you just can't get into any more shows. You go back to the box office, you buy more tickets, you can get into more things. If you're going to be staying around for the full day or for more than a full day, you're going to want a badge. Badges are just the easier way. Instead of holding on to like 50 tickets, your badge or your wristband, whatever it is, will end up giving you access to everything throughout the day. You can buy badges by the single day. The multi-day badge will give you access to all the days. And then there's the content creator badges and industry badges. The differences between those are there are some events where there's a little bit of food and content creators get to meet each other and the industry people get to hang out together. And then there's also the red carpet gala. And those events just carry more costs with them. So the price of the tickets to those events are more expensive. The red carpet gala is Saturday night, October 1st. It's being held at the Event Garden, which is down by the lift bridge here in Duluth. That is the dress up, be your fashionable best, wear whatever you like. Lots of really good fashion on Saturday night. Get your pictures taken, hang out, and see some award winners. So that's the big culmination of the festival. And then after the gala, we typically end up taking over the bar that is atop the Radisson Hotel, which is where most people attending the festival are staying anyway. That's the one that rotates around. They actually redid it. There's a new ownership up there since last year. They completely renovated the whole space. It's awesome. So that's going to be a lot of fun to hang out after the gala there. For those of you who are in town early and have been reading the news about the North Star Story Summit, we have partnered with the Duluth Superior Film Festival and the Minnesota Web Fest this year to put all the festivals back to back to back in a 10-day time frame. The Duluth Superior Film Festival actually starts tonight in about an hour and goes through Saturday. The Minnesota Web Fest is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then Catalyst goes Wednesday through Saturday. The reason for that is Duluth Superior focuses on independent film. Minnesota Web Fest focuses specifically on web content, and Catalyst does specifically episodic and TV content. So that way, you have all 3 types of indie content together in one 10-day stretch that if you happen to be visiting from out of state, you don't have to come back to Minnesota at different times of the year. You can do it all at once. So you can buy a story badge that covers all 10 days for that if you are planning on coming up starting this weekend. All right, let's take a look for some more questions here. Antonia asks, for the fellows who can't attend the festival, are the sessions being recorded for future access to view? Yes, we are going to be recording a number, not all, but most of the panels and seminars. We will be giving access to those probably through our Institute memberships online. After the festival, it'll probably take about a month to get those set up and posted. We won't be giving access to the video content. There's just too many rights issues, and we wouldn't want to be sharing content without permission. We won't be recording the pitches or table reads. So it would just be the panels, the firesides, the workshops, those types of discussion and educational elements. Hey, Cat Campion's here. If you're arriving on Wednesday, Catherine is going to be one of the hosts of the neurodiversity chat on Wednesday night of the festival. So come on in and see her. Hi, David. Yes. Oh, you're probably answering the question from earlier about where is Duluth. It is on the shore of Lake Superior, right in the middle of Minnesota. For those of you who have never been here, I got to tell you, I'm from Boston originally. After I graduated college, I moved to Los Angeles. So born on the East Coast, spent most of my early career on the West Coast. When I first drove over the hill coming into Duluth back in 2018, the first time you see Lake Superior, especially if it's a bright blue day, it's just spectacular. It took my eyes a minute to realize I wasn't looking at the skyline. I was actually looking at a body of water. It's an inland sea. I don't know how many Americans really know that America has its own inland sea, but it does, and it's beautiful. All right, let me switch over here. And pull up my screen again. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about just some of the logistics of how the festival works. There's still hotel rooms available here in town, so if you need a special discount, you can use this Radisson code. The Radisson code, we think it's still good. It has some type of algorithm to it where it shuts off at some certain point, but give it a try. It can't hurt. There are a number of other hotels in town too. The Radisson is, I think, last check, literally half the rooms at the Radisson, or more than half the rooms, are going to be Catalyst people. It's where the execs are staying. It's where the industry people are staying. It's where a lot of content creators are staying. So you want to check that out first. It's about an 8-block walk from the Radisson to where the venues are, and I'll pull up a map in a second and go over the layout of where everything is for the festival. If you're flying into Duluth, you'll be taking either Delta or United. It's about a 10 or 15 minute drive from the airport to downtown Duluth. It's not bad. There aren't shuttles. We are going to be having a couple of trucks and SUVs going back and forth here and there, but there aren't guaranteed shuttles. There will be Catalyst volunteers at the airport to help with general information. They'll be located down by the baggage claim. So when you arrive, you can hang out with them and ask them to answer any questions you have. There's also Uber and Lyft here as well, if you need to get downtown. If you're flying into Minneapolis, St. Paul, you're driving up from the cities, it's about a 2.5-hour drive. And if you happen to be driving up from either the airport or the St. Paul side of the Twin Cities, keep an eye out on the billboards on I-35 East, just before you get to the merge where I-35 East and I-35 West are. You'll notice something pretty cool there. And then buses and carpools. There are plenty of bus lines that go from Minneapolis to Duluth. Landline is offering a discount with the promo code Catalyst. And we also have, new this year, a carpool sign up. A number of people asked about carpooling with each other. So you can click on this link here on our travel page and enter your information to be part of that group and figure out a carpool ride if you need it. Let me pull up the map of Duluth here to just give an overview of where all the venues are. And while I'm doing that, I will say I looked at the forecast today and it's looking spectacular for next week. So really excited about that. That always helps. All right. Okay, let's pull up the map here. So this is the section of downtown Duluth where the festival takes place. I'll start farther out, and then we can zoom in. So obviously, this big body of water over here, that's Lake Superior. The airport is up the hill a little bit this way. This is Canal Park. This is where a lot of the tourists, the shopping, restaurants, the lake walk, beautiful lake walk, especially on beautiful fall days like this. I do it at least once a day while I'm here. So you've got the Radisson Hotel over here on West 5th Street. On Superior Street and West 5th. And then you just walk straight up Superior Street this way, and you'll see Zeitgeist here. Zeitgeist is located on Superior Street and 2nd, and our box office lounge is right here on Superior Street and 3rd. So the first place you're going to want to go when you arrive to Catalyst is to our Catalyst Lounge, which is right next to the Duluth Trading Company, right here at 310 East Superior Street. It's across the street from the Sheridan. That lounge will be open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. during the days of the festival. You will need a photo ID to confirm your order and pick up your tickets or badges. If you haven't registered for your badge yet, you can buy them in person, but know that promo codes only work in advance on the website. So you can't show up and say, hey, I would like a badge for free because I have a promo code. If you don't buy it in advance on the website, you'll have to pay full price at the box office. The Zeitgeist, this is where the two screening venues, Cinema 1 and 2 and the Teatro that I was talking about earlier, all three of those venues are in there, along with the really wonderful restaurant and bar and the conference room where things like the legal office hours and others will be happening. And then if you roam just a little bit up the street here, you'll see Fickers is located. That Fickers is this entire complex. It's an inn, it's an indoor mall, it's got bookstore, it's got restaurants. If you're looking for a great breakfast in the morning, head over to the Boat Club. They have really great breakfast. There's a Mexican spot in there. Pickwick is on the way. So you'll be spending a lot of your time in Fickers, either in the Spirit of the North Theater or at the Barrel Room. The Barrel Room is really cool. It is like a little event space, but with a really fancy bar attached to it. And then right across the hall from it is the Brew House, which is a really great hamburger joint. So you could literally just spend the entire festival cozy in Fickers, bopping between panels and fireside chats and the SAG-AFTRA lounge and have a great time. Similarly, over at Zeitgeist, you could just take up residence inside one of the theaters if watching the video screenings is your thing, and just watch shows all day long and head up to the Teatro for panel breaks. So that's a little bit of an overview of the festival layout there. I am kind of coming to the end of the overview that I wanted to give everybody for this year's festival. Let me see who we got. I got some more questions here. Actual autumn weather, 100 degrees in Alabama. Adam, bless your heart. No, it is not 100 degrees here in Duluth, Minnesota. I think it's scheduled to be in the high 60s right now. So hopefully it stays that way. But it's going to be good to see you back up again. For those of you listening online, I'm just going to publicly embarrass Adam for a minute. He's been a member of the Catalyst community for years. He's a great guy. Him and his team are just tremendously creative. They have a series that has literally over 1 billion, with a B, 1 billion views. So if you're wondering about how to get a web series moving forward and produced and funded and sponsored and all of these things, talk to Adam. Whether or not he finds his jacket is irrelevant. If he's cold, talk to him and buy him a beer or something. I'm sure it'll warm him up. Lori's talking about, yeah, there can be quite a wind off the lake. So don't be surprised if it's 65 and sunny on one block and then you turn the corner and it feels like it's about 42 and winter. If that lake wind decides to change direction on a moment's notice, it can get pretty gusty. You're totally right. Mark Brown, it was 100 in Nashville State. Guys, you're all just moving north. I mean, right? Can we just call it already. I mean, Arizona's running out of water, right? Like the South is just too hot, it's humid. Just everybody just move to Duluth. We'll just make a little production community up here on the shores of Lake Superior. It'll be nice and easy. One of the reasons we actually chose Duluth in Minnesota was the future potential climate impacts of our industry. So, hey, Laura, Adam, Lori's asking how she can watch your series. I guess I talked about your series, but I forgot to mention the name of it. It's called It's a Southern Thing. Just, Lori, just look up It's a Southern Thing online, and you'll enjoy that. Mas Awesome asks, where's the best place to park at the festival? Good question. There's plenty of public parking and parking garages and ramps on Superior Street. So if you're driving into town just for the festival, you might be able to just snag a spot. Duluth has a really great parking app. It's cheap. The meters aren't very expensive, or there are a couple of ramps. Or if you want, you can park over in Canal Park, which has plenty of parking, and roam around there. There's a kind of a walkway, not a bridge, but like a walkway around the edge of the lake here that connects Canal Park, which is where the lift bridge is, up to here, where the festival's happening. So you can kind of roam around there. Are there any events this weekend? There are, in fact, and that's how I was going to close. So thank you very much for the early segue there to whoever asked that question. Let me pull up the Duluth Superior Film Festival information for you. I'm actually going to head over there in a few minutes when I close this chat. Their kickoff is happening tonight at the West Theater. So DSFF, as I mentioned earlier, is one of our partners this year. For those who are planning on being in town early, this is their website. Really cool indie programming, high quality films. It's a lot of fun. I actually look forward to it every year, just grabbing some popcorn, hiding in the corner of the theater, and watching some really great stories. So that kicks off tonight. They've got a full schedule tonight through Sunday, so you'll want to check that out. And then let me just pull up George Reese's Minnesota Web Fest. Fun story: Minnesota Web Fest is actually the reason that Catalyst ended up in Minnesota. Hold on, make sure I'm doing this right. I went to speak at the Minnesota Web Fest in 2018. George invited me out there, and that's where I met Melody Bahan, who's the Minnesota Film Commissioner, and started talking about the fact that we were looking for a place to move to. We had been in Vermont at that time for about 6 years, and we just needed a place with some more infrastructure and financial support and artistic support. And Minnesota fit the bill, but we couldn't figure out where within Minnesota to do it. And so we looked around at like Wayzata and Rochester and Stillwater and a few other places around the metro area. We didn't want to be in a metro. We started in LA, if you remember, as ITV Fest back in 2006. We moved to Vermont because we wanted more of a retreat getaway vibe. So I was just talking with folks at the Web Fest about, is there a retreaty type town, getaway type town in Minnesota? And everybody mentioned Duluth. And so I came up to Duluth, met Ricky McManus, who you will meet here. She has been a staple of the Minnesota film industry for decades, going all the way back to things like Grumpy Old Men and Purple Rain and North Country. So Ricky's here. But when I met Ricky, she gave me the tour. That was it. Duluth was where we are. So WebFest will be happening at Zeitgeist and Hostel du Nord in downtown Duluth starting the 25th. That will go through the 28th. So we're looking forward to kind of this overlapping of indie film, web, and TV content. All right, let me take one last look at the question list here. I don't see anything that I think is new. Yeah, that's about it. All right, well, thanks everybody. Thanks for hanging out for a bit. I hope that was helpful. And if you have any other questions, feel free to just email us or get in touch with us on socials, and our team will respond as quick as they can. If you happen to see Nikki Coble, Jen Plotsky, Tara Llewellyn, Anna Tansky, Kimberly Browning, Samuela, anybody, Margie from our team, give them a big thank you. It's been a lot of people working behind the scenes. There's dozens and dozens more than I just mentioned. And we're really excited to be back in person after having a full year to plan for this. I can't tell you how grateful we are and how much we thank you for all your support and staying out there, being creative, and just fighting through everything that's happened the last couple of years. And we look forward to seeing you all here in a few days. So thank you very much. Enjoy the weekend. We'll see you in Duluth.